One of the things that I personally really like to do is to deal with a lot of the liberal ideas that flow throughout the Western world, because a liberal Western democracy. The problem is a lot of this liberalism flows into Marxists as well. Let me give you a very good example. Samantha Bee, who is a comedian, a media pundit who comes out of the Jon Stewart show, so a very liberal, fairly well known, has her own show called Full Frontal with Samantha Bee, and she took on the recent shooting that has to do with the Orlando Gay Club. Now, what she said was this was her response to conservatives and everybody like that. She said,
"Well, here we are. Now, after a massacre, the standard operating procedure is that you stand on stage and deliver some well-meaning words about how we will get through this together, how love wins, how love conquers hate, and that is great. That is beautiful. But you know what? F it. I am too angry for that. Love does not win unless we start loving each other enough to fix our fucking problems."
This is where I'm going to have to disagree with her, because this is a common liberal position that essentially ends up as a completely ineffective tool for solving problems. She's saying we have to start loving each other in order to solve these problems. See, the problem is loving each other is the result. That's the goal you're trying to get to. The goal isn't the tactic to reach the goal. So you see what I'm saying here? She's saying the elimination of hostilities between groups is what will lead to an elimination of hostility between groups. Well, I mean, it doesn't take much, really logical thought to realize that you're claiming that the end result is the tactic that will reach the end result. I mean, it doesn't make sense. This is part of the liberal problem with trying to understand modern capitalist society. They don't see things as contradictions that exist within certain groups. Heterosexual people, homosexual people, to a large degree, there's still an antagonism there. And this is a socially constructed antagonism, one that certainly has to be eliminated. But simply saying love each other won't accomplish this. The system perpetuates these contradictions. We must tackle the system that causes the contradictions, or in this case, not explicitly causes them, but perpetuates them. Resolve that, and we will get an end to the hostilities between groups, which is the end result that they want. So you see what I'm saying here? They're not advocating something that tackles the problem. They're advocating what would be the result of tackling the problem, and then using that to attack the problem. And that doesn't work, because it comes from a very unscientific understanding of how contradictions between classes and different groups within society actually operate. You cannot achieve economic equality inside of capitalism due to the very structural inequality that is the basis for the entire system. So any kind of idea about economic justice or economic equality under capitalism is essentially meaningless. It's an end result that can't happen. So this is what we mean by a lot of the liberalism in society. We don't just simply love one another and then we all love one another. We have to tackle the things that cause it. And yes, there are a lot of people that don't love each other, to use the liberal term that she's using here. The thing, you need a core of people that will go out and perform that transformation. That transformation would then cause other people to love each other in this situation. Normally, we regard that as a vanguard party. The masses don't just simply, instantly change. It requires a transformation process, something that a group of people, a vanguard party, carries out and facilitates the creation of. So here we can see the liberal fallacy behind simply asserting that the end result is the very thing that we need to do to achieve the end result. And this is a problem that runs throughout liberalism in general. This is why liberalism doesn't really solve any problems. It never solved the race problem. It never solved the problems between religions. It's never solved the problem between heterosexuals, homosexuals, and bisexuals, because it essentially can't, because it doesn't attack the structural problem itself. that causes the problem. They only seek to push the idea of the end result with no idea of how to actually build it.